So this is episode 10.
I know.
Um,
I know.
it's a small milestone, you know.
Oh yeah.
Like you've been, I feel like you've been in the fire as far as all of that stuff. Like, so you've got people that are listening that don't know. E has another podcast, Caught in Two Minds.
Oh, yeah.
It's about soccer, Arsenal specifically. I mean football.
Right.
Football
Right.
if you're not in the US.
Right. Come on.
And you've been hustling on that, the editing, the clips, YouTube channel, and then the same thing with That's a Trip. And I was thinking about this morning. You're 10 episodes deep now with That's a Trip, and you've been doing the same thing. You've been handling all that editing, which I highly appreciate.
Come on.
Wouldn't happen without you because I ain't got time for that shit. Like, how are you feeling about the whole thing being 10 episodes in? You're way deep in on Caught in Two Minds, and you're now basically doing a lot of back end stuff on two shows. You've got your other comedy stuff, like you're writing all the time. Seems like wheels are turning everywhere, and like I don't know what do you how do you feel about all of that, and just like the things that have sort of come to fruition this past like 6 months or in 2020.
I got you. Well, I mean, later on in the excuse me, later on in the show, I was gonna
mute that shit. I'm playing.
I was gonna tell you that I'm done. Like, this is my last show.
Sounds pretty that sounds on point.
I'm tired of all that shit.
Can't do it anymore.
Everything you just said, I'm tired of all of it.
I'll just wait.
Nah, it's been great because when you think about something, when you get ready to start a journey or start a project, and I don't know about you, but I spend a lot of time just thinking about shit or imagining shit or planning, whatever it is I'm doing. And, not to get all woo woo.
Yeah.
But, they, some of the little gurus and shit say, your imagination is what has made everything possible, in the world. Whatever you see, whatever you use, it all started with a thought. And I can't tell you how many nights I would spend hours just thinking about doing this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now I've been doing it.
Yep.
And in the process, getting the show started, figuring out how to do everything, all those nights thinking about it. It's just, when you really think about it, it's incredible. You're not in like, oh, we're doing an incredible show or anything, but it's like your thoughts and what you think about and imagine and you want to do. The more you think about them, the more they'll come to fruition.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I think people think about whenever they say anything is possible.
Right.
I almost said impossible. But yeah, when people say anything is possible, it's true. You just had to find that path, to make it possible. And one of the biggest hurdles I think for a lot of people is taking that thought that's in your imagination and bringing it into real life, bringing that into fruition. Like, I have an idea for whatever, some invention, right? And I could think about that thing for years, but until I go down the path of like, how do I get this invention in front of me physically in the real world? Like, I don't know, man. I think like that's a big crucial step. It might even be the hardest step.
Yeah, action is the hardest step. But I think it's in correlation with how much you're thinking about something. Like with this podcast, I was obsessed. Like, I couldn't stop thinking about how I was gonna get this going, or you know, which software I was going to use. So it was constantly on my mind, the
Yeah.
planning, the thinking about it, what it would look like, how, you know, everything was almost like an obsession.
Yeah.
And I think that's how you can gauge whether you're going to get something done or not, or whether it's going to come to fruition,
Right.
because you'll get to the point where you almost have to take action,
Right.
because
Yep.
it's like your soul or something inside you is like, okay, dude, we got it.
Yeah.
You know, let's go start doing this. And I mean, that's basically what it was with all these little projects I'm doing,
Yeah.
to the point where it like seeps into my other projects. Like, I haven't been, you know, I want to write more, but I've been so obsessed with, you know, getting this podcast up and running. And throughout the journey of the podcast, or the 10 episodes, all the different stuff I've learned, you know,
Mm.
it's so the you know, the journey never ends, and you learn more and more as you go on these little journeys
Yeah.
to create. So anyway,
Yeah, man. That, and you can also apply what you've learned. Like maybe you're working on something with That's a Trip, and you're like, oh shit, I could do that with, I could replicate that with Caught in Two Minds, you
exactly,
know, or
exactly.
even some of your writing, maybe you figure something out, or okay, I'm gonna make this little note for later because when I get this script or whatever, boom, you know, I've already learned that from, yeah,
Exactly.
and yeah, it's just, yeah, the effort, man, and the drive. And I know exactly what you're talking about with becoming obsessed with something, um, to the point where, like, you almost have to do it so you don't go crazy, you know?
Right, right,
And
right.
I don't know if that's something that s I'm sure that is something that other creatives can, sort of, understand, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, it is a sometimes I wonder, like, or maybe, like, I'll use my wife, for example, she might not understand, like, why I'm in here so much, why I'm doing this so much, you know what I mean? And it's
Mhm.
like, and another part of that is, well, you can't just, like, explain that shit to everybody, like, all these thoughts that are in your mind, you know? But also, you don't always see the results. Actually, you probably never see the results of something, like, putting all that work in up front until later on. Like,
Exactly.
we talked about, like, we're gonna do this on a weekly basis, maybe sometimes twice a week, and we'll see where we're at in 5 years,
Right.
you know?